So today I decided to have a little fun and come to a poultry show. At least I thought it was a poultry show. Turned out it's actually pigeons only, which is awesome because I've never been to a pigeon show. I had pigeons years and years ago, but haven't been able to mess with them for quite some time. I just want to show everybody, you know, pigeons are more than just the street rats that people think they are. So I'm going to show you some of the really cool looking birds here. We got pygmy powders, little stilt-legged looking bird. These are horseman powders, which, if memory serves me, I'm pretty rusty, but I think the Spanish horseman and the English carrier went into the modern racing pigeon way back in the day. But this whole place is just clear full of quality pigeons. And the cool thing is you see people from all different backgrounds and tons of kids here. Here's some flying rollers. These birds fly in groups and do backflips in the air. They're really cool to watch. There's a yellow, a red bar. There's another red bar, but as you can see, it's a lot lighter than the one beside it. Let's see. So all of those are different colors in one breed. That's the flying roller. And then, let's see. These are probably some of the biggest pigeons they got here. They're French Modane. It's originally a utility breed. And commonly you see them in this color here, so it's kind of neat to see them in the brown and the opal. Over here we got another utility breed, the King. And it looks like this one here got utility champion. It's a white king. And when I say utility, what I mean is these were the broilers of the pigeon world. What else we got here? We got homers, dragoon, which was another homing breed at one time. Over here we've got the giant homer. And the giant homer and the show homer, if you're familiar with your show breeds of chicken from other countries, they are to the racing homer what a Carlisle Old English is to an Oxford Old English. They're super exaggerated, give this look of power to them, but they're just a show bird. This guy's pretty cool. I've never seen one of these, and I didn't know the tail on these is a wedge shape. This is a Royal Turkish Seljuk. Not sure how you pronounce that. The one next to it's an Oriental roller, and that color right there is called almond. It's one of my favorite color patterns. So those are also, I guess you could say, in the flying performance breeds. We've got some tumblers and some yellow rollers. These ones have white flights, white tail. I don't remember if the markings on the face is called a beard, but I think that's what it's called. Over here, another really sculptural breed, the English Carrier. This pattern's another pattern I really like. It's called a Blue Grizzle, and it is a modified blue bar wild type. These birds have been bred for their very upright and slender appearance. They're kind of like the runner duck of the pigeons, really. And you've got English Barbs. They have the over-exaggerated facial skin similar to a Muscovy duck. And now I'm going to cut across over to some other ones here. as a show type homer. It's kind of misleading. You'd think that a show type homer is a show type homer, but there's German beauty homers, there's giant homers, there's show homers, there's performing homers. So just in that group alone, you've got a whole bunch of little subdivisions of the breed. These ones are a personal favorite of mine. I used to have them. I actually used to have them in that color. It's a yellow Lahore. Lahore as in the town in India, city in India. And their colors are just really vibrant. I don't know if you can tell, but that's a red. That's a lavender. On the other side, you've got white Modenas. I believe the Modena is Italian. I'm not sure on that. Here's some toy Modenas. This, I believe, is a recent addition. It's a miniaturized Modena. There's that almond pattern again. This is the pattern the Modena is most famous for, though. It's called the Ghazi. And it's a modified blue bar where it's got rust red bars on it and a white belly. I'm gonna get trampled by small children by the end of the day. Seraphims. These are a short beak, crested, and grouse leg breed. Never seen one of these in person before, so that's pretty neat. These guys are Indian fantails. So an Indian fantail, the tail's a little looser, doesn't set as high. They've got heavily feathered feet and a little bit of a peak crest on the back of their head. Frillbacks, I used to have some of these, and I used to have some of those Indians as well. These birds have a gene that causes their feathers on their shoulders to curl. Unlike a frizzled chicken, though, it seems like it's mainly limited to their backs, and they are able to fly. Behind them you see some Syrian dewlaps. There's that version over there where the feathers come up just a little. They consider that a frillback in that breed. And then this one over here, they call that an earring pattern because of the white markings on the neck. This is a South German monk pigeon. And that's something you're going to find with the pigeon breeds, is there's a ton of breeds out of Germany and a ton of them that were developed by monks and people in monasteries. There's breeds called priests, there's nuns, there's Saxon priests, there's saints, although the saint was developed in St. Louis, Missouri, so that's how it got its name, but you see what I'm getting at. Classic frill, one of the shortest beaked breeds. They can eat just fine, but they have trouble feeding their young, so you have to surrogate the eggs to another breed so that the squabs can be fed properly. English trumpeter. This is called a shell crest, and then the feathers facing forward on the front is a beak crest. Huge muffs on the feet. This guy's an Arabian trumpeter. The color is called lemon. It is a dilute blue bar. This breed's mainly bred for its voice. It's very vocal. This is a Zitterhall, and they're known for having a neck that shakes a lot when you're standing there. Now we're into some of the hooded breeds. You've got a Capuchin here, and right next to it's a Jacobin. So the Jacobin, as you see, has a lot larger crest. It completely envelops the sides of its face, whereas a Capuchin, you're able to see the eye clearly. I've had Jacobins. They're a high maintenance breed. I never really had luck with raising them. There's the face of one right there. You can see it's hiding inside of the feathers. Another almond. Here's another one. This color here is the most common Jacobin you're going to see is the red, followed probably by the black. These ones here are based off of red. I'm not sure what genes are at play totally. There's just a ton of Jacobins here though. See, the interesting thing about pigeon shows is they bring the birds to a table for judging. And with chicken shows, you just leave them in the cage and you go up and down the aisles and you judge them there. The judges are very hands-on with checking the feather quality, the pattern, the way the bird feels, making sure it's got good, healthy weight on it. So this is a breed-specific club, and that's pretty common in pigeons. Oh.
The cream bar will be first, the silver bar will be second. The cream bar is in nice feather condition, it's fairly complete, good overall bird. The silver is not quite in the same condition, and I don't know if it makes any difference to you guys, but it's got a pearl eye and a bull eye. You've got one of each, take your pick which one you like best. So that'll be the top of the three bars.
Alright, so I don't know if you could hear the judge, but he was just giving his reasoning on judging the female barred Jacobins, and he chose that yellow colored one, the cream bar, and the reason he chose it was basically its body type and feather condition. The silver bar, which was to the left of it, lost out due to having two different colors of eyes. So that's how close of attention they pay to these kinds of things at these shows. Anyway, what I was saying is, at shows, you're going to see lots of breed-specific clubs coming together under one show. So this is the Brown County Poultry and Pigeon Club, and they've got a meet for, they're called meets. They've got a meet for the old school Jacobin Club. I think there's like the Minnesota Flying Roller Club, and I don't remember who all else. Got a supply vendor here. And you can also buy carriers to transport your birds. They do raffles here. So you can win cool stuff, and it helps to promote the club. They've got old magazines, which are awesome collector's items because they're packed full of history. Now over here you've got the American fantails, and I used to have these too. You got a tail mark, a blue bar. These are also a pretty high maintenance bird to get just right. They go to great lengths to get these tails in perfect condition for the shows. And this is how these birds stand naturally. And if you wonder if they have trouble breeding, the answer is no. When I had them, I had a pair, and I only kept one pair because they'd hatch off and raise a pair every month. And in between that, the male took a liking to my racing homers and started crossing over on them on top of it. So the for sale section of the show, most of the people who enter shows have extra stock for sale. They'll bring them here. You can just pick them up and buy them. It's a good way to get a start in breeds you're curious about, because you can talk to the breeder and decide if it's right for you. You can't tell me that ain't pretty. I wonder what these little guys are. I think those are pygmy powders and old German owls. Nope, that wouldn't be pygmies, they'd be Norwich. Or not Norwich, they'd be, because pygmies have feathered feet. Here's that cream Jacobin that just won it with the judge. And here's the silver bar that it was up against. Trying not to get pictures of people's kids in the video, although there's tons of kids here, and personally I think that's absolutely outstanding because honestly, without kids being interested in these breeds, they'll die out. You know, even if a kid can't get into them when they're young, if they really are taken by a breed, maybe when they get older they'll get into them. You know, if you live in town, this is a great hobby for kids to have. They don't take up a lot of space. They're actually very clean, and there's something small that a kid can handle, you know? And the cool thing about pigeons is they live a long time. So, you know, they'll actually outlive your dog. I had the first racing homer I actually ever got, the local sheriff's office called me because I was the guy with the birds. And somebody had a pigeon in their garage. Well, it was a racing pigeon that got lost and never made it home. And basically my theory was, well, if he didn't make it home, the guy doesn't want him. So I caught him and I looked at his leg band. As you can see, these birds are leg banded with the National Pigeon Association sealed band that goes on them when they're young, and then when they get older their foot's bigger and you can't ever take it off. So that helps to identify the bird for life. We don't really have a system like that with poultry. It's kind of up to the individual breeder how they want to band their birds. But anyway, back to the story. So that pigeon that I got, he was born the same year I was. Okay, so he was 15 years old when I got him. And I've heard of pigeons living like 30, 35 years. So, you know, little rabbit hutch is really all you need for one pair. If you're just going to keep a pair for having around for the kids. Like I said, they don't take up much room, they don't eat much feed. And they're really pretty clean and pretty neat. I mean, if you can't find a pigeon you like with all the different breeds and colors that are out there, they're just not for you. Plain and simple. They got small ones, big ones, crested ones, feather-legged ones, frizzled ones, naked-necked ones. Here's a Norwich cropper. I had these in red. So this breed's been bred to exaggerate the air sac that they use in displaying to attract females. This one I think is absolutely beautiful. This is what they look like when their air sac isn't all puffed up. Here's another one. These are probably the females. It's usually the males that are blowing the big globes. Right here they're doing judging. Little something in the raffle here.